Okay, good morning. This video is really for the customer, Nate. Nate, this is your OS FS-120 Surpass E version that you sent to me to do an engine diagnosis and tuning on. And let me just read in case I do publish this for others to see. So this engine was 10 plus years old and had been sat without running, so you had to free up the cam followers, the valves. They were held in the open position. So you were not successful in getting this thing to run consistently. It would stop at half throttle or the idle was inconsistent. So basically just not running well. So first thing I'm going to do here is move some of these tools out of the way. Is you still have the glow plug installed, and I just want to feel the compression. And that engine does not feel like it's got the proper amount of compression for an OS FS-120 Surpass. So here it's coming on to compression, then it just kind of stops, and then it just goes like that. So for comparison, I've got my OS FS-120 Surpass 3, which is in excellent condition, and it has compression like that. Ugh. It takes considerably more effort to rotate that through than this. So this does not have good compression whatsoever. Now I did feel air coming out of this, so this is not blocked. So what I'm going to start with here is I'm going to take this carb off. Before I do that, I'm going to just loosen up the intake manifold. I'm going to take the carb off and check the carb out. Haven't touched any of the settings on it yet at all. So I want to start with the carb, because you seem to believe that all of the issues seem to run in the belong in the carb. So let's start there. It definitely has a compression issue thing though going on. So we'll take the valve cover off and check the valve lash also. Okay, so here's the carb. Looking to see where the throttle stop screw is set. The barrel looks like it's really dirty. It looks like the throttle stop screw is set to completely closed so that there's no throttle ability at all. So I'm going to close this screw up so I can get at least a millimeter of closure there. A little bit too much. So you basically want to close this thing until the point of a T-pin fits in there. That's always been the rule of thumb that I've used over the years. Reddit Model Airplane News or something like that. So I'm just putting a T-pin in here and closing the barrel, and I can feel it hitting on that. So now I'm just going to use a piece of fuel tubing, and I haven't touched any settings. I'm just going to open this up, close it fully first. So throttle closed, it's holding air, so that's good. Which also tells me that I don't have this throttle stop screw. Is that right? I should get a little bit. Let's see here again. Yeah, so it's got a little opening there, so I should be getting airflow through there. So that seems like that's idle setting is off. What I want to do now is open the throttle. I closed the high-speed needle completely, and I've got the throttle open. I should have no airflow coming through here at all, which I don't, which is good. So I'm going to open this 2 turns. 1, 2. Full throttle. This sounds good. I still say that that looks like that's set, so I'm going to start opening up this low speed needle because I don't think the low speed is quite right. Be nice if this fuel tubing would stay on here. Okay, so with the throttle stop screw set so that I've got maybe a millimeter opening there, I've adjusted the low speed so that I do hear a little bit of airflow, and then it obviously increases. So to me, this carb seems like it's in good repair right now, or at least it's got a good setting. I think I want to open up the rear, take this rear cover off, and see what things look like inside there. I'm not sure this is going to tell me much, but this is just something I typically always want to do. I always want to look inside, because to me, an engine that's sat for 10 years and things were stuck, cam followers, valves stuck, could indicate that there's not good bearings in this engine either. I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to operate an airplane that I cared about in that condition. Okay, so it doesn't appear that you've ever taken this rear cover off. So, I don't know, maybe I'll hold off on doing the rear cover now until after a run. We'll just go and look at the valve lash and see if there's a more obvious reason why we would have a substantial lack of compression. I don't necessarily want to take that rear cover off and take a risk of destroying that rear gasket unless I know for sure that I've got a replacement, and or you're gonna want me to do that. Typically, removing the rear cover is something I would do to assess the internals of an engine, but I can wait on that. Okay, let's put this here. And I thought I had the right. My bamboo skewer here. Oh, I gotta take the plug out. Oh, wow. Why is that plug so tight? Okay, let's see how this plug lights up. Okay, plug looks fine. Okay, we're at top dead center. Let's check our valve adjustment. Okay, this is a 0.1 millimeter. It's too open. That's going in there. That one feels fine. So that one feels good. Intake is open just a hair too much, but that would not result in the issues you're reporting. Just because that's a little open would not result in that at all. But let's get this adjusted. It's just barely out. So an intake valve or intake valve lash being out that much is not going to cause any kind of issues at all there with running. I just don't like the way it doesn't have any lack of compression there. Let's put this plug back in here. I'm hoping I can get this thing on the stand today. It seems like it might have actually changed the compression just a little bit, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the valve lash being too open doesn't mean anything. It would have been being too closed. It would have been. So what I'm doing here is, if I've got any oil left in this thing, is I'm just going to put a little bit of oil down here on these valve seats. Feels like the compression might be slightly better now. Okay, so one thing I want to see about briefly here is, I know you said we're not able to get this cam cover off. I'd like to check the timing, but I don't know that that's really necessary. Feels like it's got pretty decent compression now. I mean, I don't know what I did to actually alter the compression. I really didn't do anything. So, and I've even got the intake carb off. Well, actually, I don't want to turn that on there yet. I think when I go to do a run, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a different glow plug in there just to make sure, eliminate that as a possibility. I don't recall how this thing was on there. It's like this or not. It doesn't really matter. It can go on either way. I mean, theoretically this engine should run. I'm not seeing anything major wrong here yet. Low speed needle was slightly out. It feels like it's got a little bit better compression now, which is odd because I didn't really do anything to it. Maybe a hair better, but still not close to the amount of compression in that engine I've got. That's the only thing I've really got to compare it to. So I guess the next step is maybe just take this thing out, get it on the stand, and see if we can fire it up. Maybe I can do this in my garage here real quick. Like I said, I'll put a different plug in it, even though that one looked fine. Alright, so anyway, that's about all I can do for my initial evaluation here. Other than that, let's just go see if we can get a run done. Okay, Nate, this is your OS FS-120 Surpass E engine that I'm going to do a test run on. I don't think the compression feels very good at all, so I don't have high hopes for this. What I'm going to do here is I've got my glow plug in here, 5% fuel. It's 53 degrees in this garage. I'm not going to worry about doing any kind of RPM readings. I just want to get a feel for how this engine's running. So I'm going to close the choke, throttle's fully open. It takes a prime, fine. But again, the compression just doesn't feel like it should feel to me. I see what you're talking about. Yeah, this sounds like there's just, it doesn't even sound good. I mean, something just doesn't even sound right in there at all. It sounds like there's something grinding. I see what you're saying now. Doesn't feel good at all. I don't know if the timing is off, but I hear something grinding in there. I'm not even going to attempt to run this anymore because there's clearly just something not right. This is going to require, unfortunately, this is going to require a complete disassembly to understand what's going on, or at least begin the disassembly process to understand what's happening. But I mean, it just doesn't sound right. It sounds like there's something grinding in there, and it has like next to no compression. So this engine needs to be fully disassembled and a complete inspection done. And if that's something you're willing to pay to have me do, I will be more than happy to do that for you.